Good morning. Welcome to the Bass Show. Just setting the cameras a bit. I need to move the room around a little bit. I will be. I just need to. This whole desk situation. Did I ever say that I've done a makeshift desk? I've bastardized like three. I've got a Franken desk, like three desks that I pieced together to make this like thing. But I'm at the point now where like the angles and all the room. And having a third child, I may well need to vacate this room at some point and get another one. Not another child, another room. Hello, Kenneth. Hope you're well. What's the time where you are? It's 11:30 a.m. here. A bit of a late one for me. I'm trying to go a bit earlier to suit a European specifically base, but trying to get everyone included, eh? Why not? All inclusive and all that jazz. But yeah, I'm gonna have to think about changing up this room. That could be an afternoon project today, I guess. So next show, I may well have a new setup. Like, did you ever, when you were a kid, did you ever like moving your room around? Like every like 6 months or so. Hello, Hans Soloway. I wish you good morning. Peace be with you. Yeah, I used to move the room around. I used to get bored of the room and I used to like freshen it up. And do you know what? That came back in fashion in my head when I owned my gym. Every few months, I'd go, right, boxes are going over there, rowers, they're going to go over there, plates, they're moving. It would all be a move around. And do you know what? The impact that had on perception of like the gym and the layout and investment, it was really, really weird. It was a really strange one where the people would walk in and go, ooh, and you've literally just invested an hour or two of your time shifting stuff around, having fun. And we did that at the gym recently. Erin, the gym owner where I'm at, her and I sort of shifted stuff around, just moved it, made it a little bit more like efficient with kit, made stuff a little bit more available, made the two rooms a bit more kind of like adapted. And I'll tell you what, it has made such a difference, a massive difference. And we had fun doing it. So, which is always fun for us. Got to keep busy, got to have fun things to do. What fun do you like to have? So I've got a list of things that I like to talk about before I go out on my walk in the woods with the kids. It seems like I live the only place on earth where it's not snowing at the moment. Viva Nicaragua. That's Buenos Dios. 6 to Florida. Flow Rider. Do you know how many people didn't know that Flow Rider, the late noughties hip hop sensation Flow Rider, was Florida? Yeah, I felt embarrassed for them, really. That was a funny time for music, wasn't it? You had like Timbaland, T-Pain, Flow Rider, Justin Trouser Snake, Pharrell Williams. Oh, I'll tell you what. So talking of Pharrell Williams, every producer has like a sound, haven't they? They've got their own unique sound, their own little take, their own little unique sort of spin. So do you know who they are? Instantly recognizable on their tracks, right? So Timbaland is very recognizable. Now, Pharrell Williams, early days as a producer, I got a really fun fact for you here. Yeah, Pitbull, yeah. Really fun fact for you about Pharrell Williams. Now, if I was to tell you, you'd know what I mean by this. Early, like the NERD, Neptunes, whenever he's involved, the intro to that song begins with, 9 times out of 10, it begins with a beat that goes dum 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 dum. Like whenever he's involved, you've got dun 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 as an intro. You think of Khalees Milkshake. You think of any of the fucking NERD songs. Anything that he was involved with, you start with that intro, right? Half of the album he did with Justin Timberlake, half the songs begin with that. Now, early 90s, Pharrell Williams, because we all know he's a vampire. He's 1,000 years old. Early 90s, when he looks exactly the same. He was a young editor, a producer for a relatively well-known girl group called SWV. Now, their number one hit smash song that was a take on Michael Jackson's song, blank of me, Human Nature. So he mixed Human Nature into the SWV song. And if you listen to the intro of the song, I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get Savannah strike, right? But it goes dum, da dum, da dum, da dum, da dum, and he produced that. And then, second little, this is the fact, right? The male voice at the beginning of that song, SSWV, that is Pharrell Williams' voice. That is him singing. Listen back to it. Listen to that intro to that song. And then you'll go, boom, mind blown. I just thought I'd throw that in there. But yeah, funny time to be in your early 20s that time. You've got the domination of the music charts coming out of the US in like that whole I'm going clubbing scene before EDM and all house took over in the clubs, really. But yeah, T-Pain, Pharrell, Justin, Timbaland, all that lot, Pitbull. Yeah, although over here, I don't think Pitbull really got big until probably like 2010, 2011-ish. He probably didn't make it out of Latin America and North America over here for a little while. Like his whole shtick doesn't really like. You'd think that being Hispanic sort of themed, you'd think that it would sit well in the southern part of Europe, in Spain and Portugal and that kind of area. But I didn't really take up. Pitbull was never really as big as the others, especially at that time. But anyway, yeah. Do you know what, Han Solo? I've got to know your name at some point. I've said this on here before. My my best mate from the age of probably 6, Dave, who later became known as Wanky Dave, until probably I got married and then just lost track of time, lost track of friendships because he didn't do CrossFit and it sort of veered off. But yeah, my wedding was probably the last time I saw him. But he started playing guitar age 6. And he is a fucking outstanding guitarist. How he's never made it, he's just very odd, peculiar man. But he's funny. Very, very, very funny. Very funny. He's an accountant now and he's married with kids. But anyway, he introduced me to Led Zeppelin, aged about 7 or 8. My mum and uncle used to listen to Led Zeppelin when they were kids. They then were amazed that I listened to them. And aged 13, when I got my first bench and dumbbells in the garage, I had a Led Zeppelin tape that all I listened to, I had Coda on tape to start with. Then I obviously got not the greatest hits, but I got a couple of them. Led Zeppelin 2, for me, was the one that I would hammer in the garage, working out bench press, curls, fucking triceps, your typical 13, 14-year-old lad workout in the garage, was Led Zeppelin. I had the same tape playing for the best part of like 2 years in the garage. So for me, whenever I hear Led Zeppelin, like Baby I'm Gonna Leave You is heartbreaking. There's so many Led Zeppelin tracks that just take me back to being 13, 14 and getting into weight training, which is what I think my associated memories with Led Zeppelin is that weight training and feeling good and getting jacked. So yeah, it's a funny old one. I like that what music does. It's association of where you're at the time. And I heard an amazing quote a little while ago, and I want to get it right. Art fills space and music fills time. something like that, or art paint space, music paint time. Like the idea of music imprinting itself onto time. It blew my head when I heard that phrase. It's like, fucking hell, that is absolutely bang on what music does. It puts a print, it paints onto time itself, and that's the appeal of music in my head, at least. It made perfect sense when I heard that. I was like, yeah, every damn song that I'm massively into my music, always have been, like everyone is. I will instantly go back in time to the place wherever that music is associated for me. It paints time. It's such a beautiful way of thinking about music. Ramble on, Moby Dick, doesn't get any better. Yeah, Moby Dick. If you're, are you a drummer? I'm assuming you are. Yeah. I can't remember where I was going with that, but yeah, music, awesome. I can't remember where I was going with that. So I had a conversation in the week about this ADHD business, right? And I want to preface this by saying it is a thing. It is a thing, a clinical thing that for a few people needs intervention, needs medical intervention, perhaps. Dabble with bass, love it. It does need assistance. It does need systems. It needs application of any tool that they can get. And I want to preface this with that. I understand that, and I know it. You know damn well when you see a kid with ADHD. But I'm a firm believer also that there are an insane amount of misdiagnoses being made because of shared symptoms with overexposure to sugar intake and screen time. I think if you look at the tendencies of kids and adults post in massive amounts of screen time and shitty diet and sugar, there's a blinkered approach to other people, to social interaction. You get hyper, you get obsessed with things, you can't concentrate, you don't listen. All of the associated symptoms with ADHD go hand in hand with that. And the thing that we've seen in the last 20 years is this massive uptick of people with it or being diagnosed with it, and also shitty diets and screen time has gone through the roof. I can't help but think they're the same thing. And like I said, preface that with there are people genuinely with it. So however, I do think it also offers, and this is going to be a hot take here, that there are a lot of lazy parents that lean into the excuse of, it wasn't my fault, I'm not a bad parent, I haven't done this to my kids, I don't give them too much screen time, I don't feed them shitty food, it's just the way they are. And I think it gives people the way out. I think it also gives people the excuse of why I'm late all the time, why I don't concentrate, why I don't listen, why I don't focus, why I put myself first, why I don't study hard, why I can't concentrate. I think for many people, if they sorted out their nutrition and they had less screen time, they might find they might be able to do their things better. That's just what I'm thinking right now on that. And I speak from a personal point of view there, because I think you could easily fall into the trap of thinking, oh, maybe I've got it. Maybe I have ADHD. I find it hard to concentrate. I find it hard to focus. I'm late. I think about different things all the time. I'm this, I'm that. It's like, well, are you? Are you really? Or are you just a normal person? Just maybe need to change his habits a little bit. Maybe you need to refine your nutrition. Maybe you need to do that. I think it was also with certain kids just in the wrong environment. Can't judge a fish by the ability to climb a tree. Yeah, exactly. And I heard a really cool thing the other day about oh, I can't remember her name. It was like Elaine or Lynn or something. This video that I saw of a woman talking about in the 20s, 1920s, I think, in London. There was a kid that was being excluded from school, and her mum was told to remove her because she wasn't concentrating, she wasn't focusing, she was disturbing the class, she was a class clown, all these things that are on my report card from when I was a kid. And she took her to a doctor and the psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist said to the mum, "Can you just leave her in this room for a minute? We need to talk outside in the other room." She put on some music, went in the other room, and the psychiatrist said to the mum, "Look at her. She's just a dancer. She's not made for the school system." Anyway, and the psychiatrist was in a position where he said this to her and advised her to put her into dance. This was in the 1920s. And this woman, I can't remember her name, she went on to starring in Broadway and on the West End in London. And she went on to choreograph like all of like 60 odd Broadway shows. She's this dame in like she went on to be this incredible superstar choreographer and dancer. And it was just because she had it in her to move more than other kids, and she was just built differently up here. And I think slapping a label, slapping the label of ADHD, I don't know if it helps. I don't know if we're built for labels like that. And again, if you do have that label slapped on you, what does that then do to you? There's a Will it make people go, do you know what? Okay, I need to do this because of this. Here's a way forward. Here's a route. Here's how I tackle this. Here's how I adapt. Here's how I resolve this. Here's how I move on with this diagnosis. Do people do that? Or do they go, it's just me then. I can be late all the time. I can be shit. I can disturb everyone. Like, it's all well and good having a label slapped on your forehead, but especially as a kid, when you know fuck all about anything, brilliant, fucking use it. And that's exactly what it is, rather than going, they're just, here's the screen isn't changing anything because you've got ADHD. Here's a screen, here's some shitty sugary food. Oh, he's hyper. Oh, he doesn't focus. Oh, this is ADHD. No, it's the shitty food, the lack of exercise, the screen time, overexposure to screen time. I'm not demonizing these things. I don't think there's any productivity in demonizing stuff. I don't see the value in that at all. But yeah, it was just something. It's an ongoing thing, isn't it? It's not something we're ever going to resolve. It's not something we're going to like have a definitive answer to. It's just one of those things in life that people need to, and we're in the health industry. We're not the sickness industry. Yeah, exactly, Kenneth. Exactly. The parents, they, with some parents, this isn't all of them by any means, but some parents, they use that diagnosis as an excuse to be lazy and a lack of engagement. That's all it is. And half the time, it's probably because they want to be on their screen and they want to do their own thing rather than seeing the parenthood as this amazing gift where you get to be with your kid. Obviously, I got a 4-week-old, right? And she's at a very different point in her life than my 7-year-old boy, nearly 8. 6, nearly 7, and my daughter, 8, nearly 9. But it's sort of like the elixir of youth. Like, you kind of like, yeah, you do feel older, obviously, but when you go in comparison to how they feel, but it keeps you young. Having kids keeps you young. I'm sure of it. Like the last 4 weeks, I felt energized. I felt motivated. I felt like 30 again. You know what I mean? It's given me a kick up the arse, as we say over here, to do stuff, which is great. Right now, back to the front line. Right, when I say front line, I mean CrossFit, the affiliate coaching. I've been observing the last few months, and I've come up with some ideas and about engagement, about what the front line looks like, what classes look like, the Hyrox dilemma, CrossFit classes, de-affiliation, all those kind of things. Um, and we don't really have like a strict answer for it. But I know that it's all related. And I'm going to keep touching on this because every time I'm in the gym, I'm looking around. This morning, I was doing my sort of accessory upper body day in the corner after I'd coached and PT'd, and I was watching a high rock session. Now, this high rock session was fully booked, 24 people moving for an hour. You've got 24 people turning up at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, moving for an hour, enjoying fitness. Nobody will say that's a bad thing. No one will say that's a bad thing because it isn't. It's very positive, right? So bear that in mind. I stood there and I was thinking, right, the CrossFit numbers and the classes, are they on par? Are they on parity with this engagement? Not currently. Okay. That's just my observation on the front line. And then you go to the numbers. Then you look at last year's open signups. The opens this year has been amazing, which we've been saying for months and months. This is going to be a big year for the open. It's going to be a big year. We've been saying that for months, especially on this show. But now, one thing I touched on before was you look at the demographics of a CrossFit gym, and one very obvious observation for me in our gym, in loads and loads and loads and loads of gyms, on social media platforms, the clientele that you see in the social media posts, the number of coaches now, there are a lot more women in the gyms. A lot more women in the gyms than there ever were, generally speaking. And again, I'm not talking in absolutes here. I'm talking in generals. In general, from my observations, men like to train a little bit more in solitude than women. We like to train in peace. We like to train quietly. You think about that typical gym setting in the Globo gyms. You think about the CrossFit gyms early days. It was fire breathers. It was people that went there and went hard, men and women. And let's say post-COVID, there has been a positive. Hello, Sean. Thank you, sir. Baby Astrid is marvelous. Thank you. It's been a very positive move to get more women into strength training and our types of gyms. That's not the point here. My observation is there's a decreasing number of men in the CrossFit gyms compared to, as a ratio, compared to pre-COVID. There's more women than men, generally speaking, in our gyms on the front line. Now, when you sit back and you watch a class underway, is there more or less chatter and talking in the classes than there was? Is there more or less? Men want to train alone. Women want to train with women. A lot of global gyms here in the States have women-only weight rooms. Cool. Yeah. So, and again, this is all a thought experiment, by the way. This isn't implementation. It's not advice. It's not. It's purely thought experiment and observation here. And like I said, it is a very positive thing that we've got more women in our gyms. We can be proud of that. We can be so damn proud of that. But has it changed the dynamic of the gyms, that ratio changing? Has it meant that less men are in an environment that is conducive with the best hour of their day. So, as a bloke who was one of the fire breathers, I wasn't a games athlete, but when I go to the gym, I will talk. Obviously, I'm very happy to chat with people all day, have a coffee, talk about goals, blah, 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 have a catch up, have a bit of banter with people, and just take the piss out of people. But when I'm training, I'm training. When I'm training, I'm not there to chat. When I'm training, I'm going hard. When I'm training, not like that, dirty. When I'm training, I'm there for one thing and one thing only. I don't want to chat about anything between sets. I don't want to sit down and have a talk about what's for dinner between the intervals at the end in the interval Metcon. I'm there for me. I'm there for the best hour of the day. I am not there to talk and be fucking part of a youth center. I'm there to work hard. After the workout, I'm all ears. Before the workout, I'm all ears. But in that hour, I'm training hard. Generally, not everyone, generally speaking, I believe that the shift in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years from pre-COVID to now has been that people are going to the gym for that reason. They're going to the gym for the community, but to chat and to communicate. And the best hour of their day is there to talk to people. And there's a workout. Whereas I think before COVID, when it pre all that crap, I think people went to our gyms to train hard and then be talking and part of a community. I think that has shifted. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear at you. I think there's been a big shift there. I think that has made a massive difference to the landscape. It's made a big difference to the gym owners that were around before then that based their entire business model around that. And now they're being told or being having to adjust to this shift in need and demand. And if you're not a gym that offers that, are you going to suffer? And I think Hyrox generally is for more and I talk about I speak as a CrossFitter through and through here. I think Hyrox people are more likely to be the people that do it that way. They come to the gym to be part of this young, youthful, Red Bull, perfume, like if you ever attend a Hyrox race, there's 3 things you can guarantee. 1, an insane amount of fake boobs. 2, the smell of perfume. And 3, the smell of Red Bull. Those 3 things are guaranteed at a Hyrox race. If you like the smell of Red Bull, if you like fake boobs, if you like the smell of perfume, you will love going to a Hyrox event. If you like the smell of protein farts, if you like chalk getting everywhere and flaky bits of skin and rock music, you go to a CrossFit event. Kenneth, it's exactly what I've called it. It's exactly what I've called it to my mate. Not that I've ever been genuinely, I'll say this down the camera, I've never been to a strip club, right? I've never wanted to, I've never been to one. But I imagine it's what it's like because it reminded me of a nightclub. In nightclubs, you go in, the smell of Red Bull and vodka, the smell of perfume, and all of the boobies. It was a nightclub environment. And that energy is what a lot of people are after. But yeah, I think we're getting somewhere with understanding about it all. I think the landscape changed in so much as there's a lot more women in our gyms per ratio. Now, I say this, and the women that have been at my gyms from 20, when was it, 2014, 2015, 2016, 17, 18, 19 to the 20 at my gym, let alone the ones that I was at before then, the CrossFit gyms, the women that were there were fucking hard workers. They were grafters. They were the ones that were not giving a shit. They were involved with the banter, but they did not chatter. They were fucking hard asses, and they were fire breathers, and they were just like us, right? Just like us. They were workhorses. But it was only them. It wasn't like you had this group of like, what would you call them? Chatty Cathys that's like, that stand around all the time. And I don't know. It just seems like what's, and it might be an evolution. It might be an evolution of the gyms. It might be a shift in landscape that was necessary to capture a wider audience, a larger audience, to get them moving, to get them exercising, and to profit as a business. It might be the evolution of what's happened. But just like in nature, sometimes some creatures and animals don't need to carry on evolving. Sometimes evolution is forced by the environment. It's called natural selection. And I'm a firm believer in the methodology and the way that CrossFit gyms are run. I don't think we need to change too much. I think we need to get better at what we do, for sure. Absolutely. We need to change it, and we need to get better at what we do. Our systems need to get better. The way that we operate, we need to get more commercialized. We need more experience. We need to step away from 30 million coaches of hours of coaching a week. We need to offset that. We need to employ better. We need to get pension schemes. We need to do all that stuff. But it's making what we do better. It's not changing what we do. Anyway, to be continued. Speaking of which, my friend and client, Claire, who's a wheelchair user, thank you, Abby, a wheelchair user, she has had her classification approved for the Open in the adaptive division. So she's signing up for the Open. First time, which is going to be amazing. First time for me coaching anyone in the adaptive division in the Open. So it's going to be cool. We're going to do the workouts together. I think she can judge me as we go through. So I'm really looking forward to that. New experience for me. It's my 14th Open, and this is the first time I'd have coached an adaptive athlete. Slightly embarrassing to say that, but here we are. And on that, I'll be at WADaptive in 3 weeks' time. February 15th is the event on the Sunday. So I'm going to be going live from there. Helen Hellsbells H-Bomb. Yesterday, I was at a powerlifting meet with my client, Helen, who's been training for 3 years. She's 68. And she discovered powerlifting after a lifelong obsession with long distance endurance. So biking and running, marathons, triathlons, all the gubbins. She discovered powerlifting and she became obsessed. And she's living the dream. Now, Helen has got a hip replacement in 5 weeks. So she wanted to do her first powerlifting meet before then. You know, she's slightly injured with her hip. Not injured, osteoporosis. Craigie baby. We've got a big competition in October that she's hoping to compete at after having had a hip operation. But she did incredibly well yesterday. It was her first competition. As you can imagine, as a 68-year-old woman who's never done any power sports before, stepping out on stage and lifting in a quiet room in front of probably 50 people is a very daunting experience. And powerlifting is, as she found, and she's the biggest takeaway from yesterday for her as always with everyone, is understanding how technical and skill-based powerlifting is. It's incredible when you get judged and you've got commands and there's movement standards to go by. It's totally different than doing squat, bench, and deadlift at the gym. Totally different. But she's taken a lot away from it. Her training is going to look very different for the next few months. But she absolutely had an amazing day. And I just want to give Helen a big shout out. She hit a, what was it, 60 kilo squat, which is light for her, but because her hips are funny at the moment, she did well. 60 kilo squat. Bench was 45 kilos and the deadlift was 105 kilos. So she hit 210 total. And just to put that into perspective, in her age category, so the M3 division, which is 60 to 69-year-olds, that would make her British champ. So in her weight category. So she's done remarkably well. So I want to say a big shout out to H-Bomb. Now, Tyson Bejan, where is he? I just want to bring this up because I'll tell you why. He did a post. Where is it? Is that it? Yeah, here we go. Right, let me bring this up in a sec. Bloody hell, there's a lot of slides, boys and girls. Right, here we go. Right, okay, so. Share screen. Is that sharing? There we go. Right, so. This post. I suffering, son. Yes, Father, I'm so thankful for my pain. Without it, my happiness would mean nothing. Now, I've talked about this, and it was amazing. He's fine. Like someone's talked about it publicly, which I love. Sisyphus. So this is the Greek myth of Sisyphus, which I have. Hang on my wrist here. It's upside down, but you can sort of see it. Hang on. There we go. I get it. Right. So he's pushing a rock, a boulder up a hill. We talked about this before, and it is. I commented somewhere on there. Oh, it's right at the top. Camus' assertion that we must imagine Sisyphus happy holds true. That's why I have the tattoo on my wrist. Even though the tasks seem meaningless, there is meaning in the task. Let's go. Right. So, what I like about the message of Sisyphus and the myth of Sisyphus. Why has that gone zoomy? Which one is it? This is, oh, there we go. Right. Sisyphus was basically, when he eventually died for the third time, he'd basically conned the gods out of death. And when he eventually died, Zeus punished him for eternity by pushing this boulder up a hill that he knew he would never get to the top of, but he had to push it to the top. And it would fall. Just as he's getting to the top, it would fall down. And essentially, it is a parable and a reflection on life. Tasks will be meaningless. Life will be meaningless if you make it that way. You will never reach the precipice. You will never reach the top. No task that you ever do will be complete fully. You will never be able to get to the top of that mountain, ever. You will not do it. There is no given meaning and task in life. There is none. However, when you understand that, the task itself and life itself becomes the meaning. So what Camus, who is a French philosopher, what he came up with in his book, Myth of Sisyphus, is that you must imagine that Sisyphus eventually came to the conclusion that he was happy that he was pushing the rock up the hill, not the end result. And it's this whole reflection on task prioritization and process. It's this reflection that runs throughout history. We talk about it in different ways, but for a number of reasons, the myth of Sisyphus should ring true with everyone, especially sports people, because yes, we do have to have goals. Yes, we have to have objectives. And it sounds cliche and it sounds cheesy, but the work and the actual task itself and the process is the meaning. That is why we do what we do. And I loved seeing that from Tyson because what it means is he's tapped in. He understands. He understands. And that might be the difference between him and all the other athletes. He's not chasing the goal at the end of it. He's enjoying the process. And I'm sure that comes from his dad. And I'm sure it comes with his involvement in CrossFit and doing CrossFit. I'm sure of it. And I loved seeing that image because it was like a ding. I was like, yes, he gets it. And he's young still, isn't he? It's really cool, you know. Not that I'm into American football, but him as a person, great to see. RTD. Oh, yes. So just want to, I got shown this gym on Instagram. Let me, so there's a gym in, there's a gym in Rotterdam, which is in Holland. Can't bring it up. RTD fitness. Don't know. I'll keep looking in the background. But yeah, anyway, there's this gym in Rotterdam called RTD, which is insane. The facilities, the way they operate, the systems they've got, the gym, the bar area, the cafe, the apparel. It's very reminiscent of Jamie and Method. It's very similar to that, and it looks really, really smart. So it's really cool. I couldn't go this weekend without giving a big shout out to Coaches Congress. They are well underway. And there's one post that I would like to bring up, if you don't mind. Now, where is it? Oh, well, you got, hey, you got Inga. There she is. It's not going to be on that post. Oh, it'll be Rich's one, won't it? So, did you see the shorts? Did you see the shorts? Let me just share screen. How cool are those shorts? Now, he does need to update the shoes. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a fan of the shoes. However, I'm a fan of the shorts and the choice. Just look at that specimen. He's one of us. How cool is that? Go on, Rich. That's how it's done. So yeah, big shout out to Rich for his choices, I guess. Oh man, right. So as a parent, of a young baby, this has been an absolute game changer. Now, when we had our last two, let me just put up this screen. When we had our last two, this wasn't a thing, or at least we didn't know about it. This thing called a rocket, right? And we got this one, and we got it secondhand. So we got given it as a well, we got it secondhand. We got it cheaper. Someone was getting rid of it. This model here, it's a rechargeable, so it's got a battery pack in it if you want to use it without it, or you can plug it in. But this thing attaches to prams or beds and basically rocks. It goes blah, 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 blah. And it is amazing. Oh, no, don't want that. It is an absolute game changer for us. Like, it soothes them without, you know, when you have to hold them, you have to rock them loads and you have to do all that kind of stuff. Or when they're in bed and they're not quite getting off to sleep and they're not going down, all that stuff. Put that rocket on in the pram when you're walking along. My goodness me. Game changer. Just give Rocket a shout out. Maybe I can get some goodies from him. Who knows? But yeah, I'll clip that and tag him. So that's Rocket. Coaches Congress. Obviously, that video of Rich was Coaches Congress this week. It's in Stockholm this weekend. Obviously, the Mayhem crew there, big names. Saw Austin doing his thing there yesterday, or review of it this morning. Sorry, yeah, pram is a stroller. Yeah, so again, I forget sometimes. Yeah, a stroller. You attach it to that, and it just sort of buzzes. It goes buzz, 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 buzz. It rockets. It rocks. It rocks, man. So yeah, Coaches Congress going well. Stockholm, land of the gods. And then 2 weeks time, 2 weeks today, I will be in Berlin, emceeing stage 1 at Coaches Congress in Germany. Now, Paddy V will be there. I'm hoping to get some time with him. My friend Farron will be there. Be talking to her. But I'm really looking forward to going. I'm looking forward to mixing, mingling, and I'm writing my intro because I'll be introducing on stage, opening the Saturday. I don't know whether to involve some German. I'm tempted to, but I haven't done German since I was 16. I could say Es ist genug für heute on the end of Sunday. That's enough for today. But yeah, anyway. Coaches Congress, Berlin, 7th and 8th of February, 2 weeks today. So looking forward to that. Tuesday coming up, I have Gerard from Elite Gym Maintenance coming on. Big supporter of the show, and I am a firm believer in what he does. And he will be coming to Twickenham in October to Coaches Congress to talk to gym owners and coaches about why it's damn important for the upkeep and maintenance of your gym and service, because we are a service provider, whether we like it or not. And having good facilities is always a good thing. But we'll be talking about on Tuesday. Rogue, awesome news that Rogue's coming back to Aberdeen. It will be the last year, I'm led to believe. There's a group of us. We've booked our hotels already. Booking.com. I don't know if you want to put a link along the bottom here. All 5 of my family are going. Jon will be going. Stephen will be going. Steve's going. There's a big group of us going, which is going to be amazing. And it's a reminder that these events are obviously it's about the athletes on the floor, but it's more than that. It's a chance to catch up. It's a chance to meet your mates. It's a chance to meet up, to have a drink or two, to relax, to watch some sport, and just to be there, to be in the environment. And we cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. So big shout out to Rogue for doing that. And I'm led to believe there'll be a few new things there, which is great. What else have I got? Oh, here we go. Right. So my last point on my agenda. So my son, my middle child son, Adonis, he's very giving. He's got a lot. We have to work with him a lot on a lot of things. As a 6-year-old boy coming up to 7, he's nuts. He's out all the time in the fields. He's this, that, and the other. He's just being a young boy. But one thing that we're really proud of is that he shares his things. He has this innate need to help, which is amazing, right? We love him. We love that. And if every time he gets a little bag of biscuits or cookies, whatever you want to call them, or something after a game or anything like that, if he has a little bag of sweets like Haribo, you get the little tiny ones, and we might have a few of them. Every time he opens it and his sister's around, Athena, who's older, not Astrid, he will say, "Would you like one?" Or he'll ask us if we want one, and he'll share. And it is an amazing trait, and we love that about him, right? And his sister, not so much. She doesn't really share that quality at the moment, so she won't offer, and she likes to eat all of hers. So anyway, we had a big discussion the other day, and his sister didn't share. And I could see it. I could see it in his eyes. He was thinking, well, why do I share if she doesn't? Why should I do that if she doesn't? I could see it in him. When you see your kid thinking, you see the cogs turning, and you're like, okay, I'll intervene here. So I said to him, what are you thinking? And he said, um, yeah, it is that because they're the oldest and they didn't have to, and then they got used to, I don't know. That mine, there's only what 20 months difference, so maybe there's something in that. Maybe they don't like to share because they didn't have to initially, or there was reluctancy when they're the younger sibling. I don't know. Whatever that might be is the thing. But I said to him, "What's on your mind and what you're thinking?" He said, and I said, "Well, do you think it will make you even if you don't share with her?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, she doesn't share with me, so I don't share with her." And I said, I went on, you can see where this is going. I effectively, I'll paraphrase it, but effectively I said, we are so proud of you the way that you are. We are so proud that you share. We're so proud that you do that. That is an amazing trait and a quality that we admire in you. And it will be something that you can hold your head up high. And it's a quality that you can keep that with you wherever you go. That is a really high value quality that you have, and you should be proud of that. Don't change that just because someone doesn't do it for you. If you change and you don't do it for them, you have then become what they are, which you didn't like to start with. So you have to have your values, you have to have your morals, and you have to have this thing in your mind that it doesn't matter how people treat you. You have your skill set, you have your values that you hold dear to. And we're really proud of you for that. In the back of my mind, I'm also thinking, no, fuck her. Like, if she didn't share with you, you shouldn't share with her. But it was this really weird moment where it was cognitive dissonance. It was, I know what's best for him, and I love that about him, and I want him to continue to be that boy that shares. Um, and there was another incident at school where one of the lads was being, not bullied is a really strong word, taunted. Let's call it. And Donny didn't say anything about it. He held back. He didn't intervene. He didn't come to the defense of the boy in the class. He didn't join in, but he was silent and he didn't say anything. And he came to me with this information. We just sat having dinner or tea or whatever you want to call it. And he said to me, he didn't say that, he didn't come forward with the assertion of, I didn't say anything, therefore I'm bad. He just said what had happened. And I said, well, did you do anything? He said, no. I said, why not? And he said, I didn't want to get involved. I said, why not? He said, because I didn't know if I would be then teased. There you have it, folks. There you have it. A 6-year-old boy having the same discussion and conversation that we have as adults. I don't want to get involved because I'm worried that I will be included. Funny, isn't it? It's a human trait, a human concern, a human condition that we have. We don't want to jump into the fire to protect, do we? Anyway, I asked Donny as part of this conversation, now that the moment's passed, if you could go back, would you do anything differently? And he said, yeah, I'd help him. I would make sure that he's okay. I said, well, learn from that. Next time it happens, you do get involved and you help. You know the difference between right and wrong. He's very good with that. He's rubbish at other stuff, but he's good at discerning between right and wrong. And it's a funny phase that I'm entering now with the kids, with those two anyway, where I'm having these conversations. It's they're becoming little humans and they're starting to think about these things and social dynamics and the herd and the group and how to be perceived and what to say. Do I get involved? And it's a challenge for sure, but it's something that I'm really enjoying the thought of, and I do like it, and I like the route ahead, the path ahead, because it's now that we get to set to put information in front of them that they actually start to make their own decisions and thought process about social dynamics and about what character they're going to have. Character and value. That's what it comes down to. Anyway, on that note, coming up to the hour. So thank you so much for everyone that's listened in today. Really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to me waffle. Just thought I'd check in. Hope you have a lovely Sunday, no matter where you are or what you're up to. Enjoy yourself. Stand up for what you believe to be right. And do feel free to jump in if you need to. Have a good one, guys. Bye for now.